Hello, welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I'm your host, Rick Becker, our co-host, Lori Hintz.
That would be me.
And we are back. We talked about CPAC last night.
Correct.
One of the people at CPAC was Dan Bongino.
Yes, he was.
We're going to be talking a lot about Dan Bongino tonight because he is a very interesting and, in the current day, very important character,
Agreed.
somebody to know.
100%, I would agree. I think that he has really come to the forefront of those people who are not spewing fake news, who are actually reporting. He's a pundit, but he's also really factual. I mean, he's really good. He's one of those people that you can actually trust, and that's rare in these days. Yeah,
he's very good. We're also going to be talking about Hr1, so that's the bill that's going through Congress, expected to be voted on next week. We talked about that last night. It is, as Lori likes to say, a monstrosity. And it really is. We're going to be touching a little bit more on that. There was so much to cover last night. We couldn't hit it all. We're going to also hit a couple more of Biden's executive orders. It's a lot of stuff. It's federal, but there's so much going on, so much you need to know. But back to Dan Bongino.
Okay, Dan Bongino is a conservative political commentator. He is a radio show host. He is a prolific author. He's also a politician. He has run for office several times, unsuccessfully, but he has served as a New York police officer. If you don't know his background, he was also in the Secret Service. In those years were from 2006 until 2011. He was a Secret Service agent. So he's got an extensive network of people to draw on for a lot of his information too, which makes him very valuable. He has a lot of factual information that he gets from some great sources. So.
Yeah, I agree. His time as law enforcement, time at Secret Service, I think gave him a very unique perspective. And boy, he is not afraid to go at it and go at it hard. And I like that. He's just plain spoken, very plain spoken. He knows it. He knows that that's how he relates to people.
And he's funny too. I mean, that's the other thing about conservatives. I think the difference between conservatives and people who are angry all the time is that they have a sense of humor, and he's great about that. He loves to laugh, and if you get to ever watch his podcast, you will see that.
Yep. So one of the things, we're bringing this up to you so that you're aware of different sources. A lot of you are probably already fully aware of him, but for those of you that aren't, it's important to know where you can go for information. This is one of those areas. There's a wealth of information. We've got a graphic up of, he's prolific author. I mean, he's putting out a book a year here lately. Good
Some
books.
of these are just great too.
Right. He first started off in 2013 with Life Inside the Bubble. And, it's why a top-ranked Secret Service agent walked away from it all. And interesting, he went from working for Obama. He had worked for Bush, then was working for Obama and said, this is it, I'm walking away.
I'm out.
and started getting into politics, ran for Senate, ran for Congress, and so forth. Another one, The Fight, a Secret Service agent's inside account of security failings in the political machine. Again, very good insider information. And then he gets a little bit more into Trump because he's very, very supportive of Trump. He's got Protecting the President.
That was in 2017 that he put that book out too. It has a rare insider glimpse of what the Secret Service actually does, which is really cool.
Yep. Spygate, the attempted sabotage of Donald J. Trump in 2018. He's got Exonerated, the failed takedown of President Donald Trump by the Swamp. And, it's interesting because I'd say the election probably came around and ended up being the winner after all. But Trump was able to resist for a long time there. And then most recently last year, Follow the Money, the shocking deep state connections of the anti-Trump cabal.
So good. I mean, he's, like you say, he's very prolific. Now, not only is he an author, but he does podcasts and he has a website, and we're going to show you some little other things here graphically that you can see that he is up to as well too. So he's got this website, and it is bonginoreport.com. So many really great stories on that, and he does a little report every day. He has, if you look on his site, you will see that he has podcasts. He has an area where he says debunk this, which I love because that was my word yesterday. So I'm feeling like I'm really full of it and like prescient. Okay, so see, that is the proper use of prescient.
That is.
Then he does a newsletter as well. He's got the Bongino Report. He does show notes. He's got all sorts of information. And the good news of this guy is that he really is well sourced. He is very up on what's new and hot and important, where you go to No Apologies for Becker for information on Hr1 and things like that. He's all over that stuff as well too. Strike 3, Governor Cuomo faces another sexual harassment allegation.
Right, and he's got the Bongino Report is a news aggregating site.
Right.
So this is a great place if you're like, what the heck's going on in politics and in the U.S. and so forth. This is one of the important sites to go to and find out where it's all coming from. The podcast that he has, which was in that first graphic we had up, is, as you said, just a really good source for the topic of the day, the things that he likes to cover. Occasionally he can be redundant, but I mean, when you're putting out stuff every day, right? So he's one of probably 3 that I go to.
Same.
And Buck Sexton.
Oh, I like
is another one who, again, just like Bongino, he's got inside information. He worked for the CIA, I believe, and then of course I like to go with Glenn Beck. So my lawn requires a good 2 hours of mowing, and I've got 2 hours of podcasts, and I don't mind listening to Bongino and mowing the lawn.
Yeah, that's a great tip too. Whatever you're doing, if you have a little section of time, I would definitely give it to Bongino as well too. He's on terrestrial talk radio as well too. I don't know that he's necessarily in this town, but chances are good you can listen to his podcast anyway. He produces all of these different things in newsletter. He's very prolific. He also, go ahead.
No, you might have been going where I was going to go.
Parler?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
He was an investor early in Parler.
Oh yeah.
And so that is a really interesting thing because you figure, okay, here's a guy, he's got all of these things going on, and he decides, you know what? We're just going to take out Twitter. We'll just, work on our own platform. It is a direct competitor to Twitter. Uncensored was the plan originally. I'm on Parler. Are you on Parler?
I am. I have an account, but I haven't been. Of course, I haven't been doing anything on Facebook much either.
Right,
but once I find a little time, I'm gonna go, or I just need to find someone and pay them and have them do it for me.
right. At some point. That's
but yeah, he's big into Parler, and he's also a supporter of Rumble, I believe. And so these are alternate social media platforms, so that instead of only whining about Twitter and Facebook, you can actually go out and do something about it. So where Parler would be the counterpart to Twitter.
Right.
And Rumble would be the counterpart to YouTube.
Correct.
MeWe would be the counterpart, I think there's another one too, but a counterpart to Facebook.
Yep.
So we've got options. Again, we believe in the free market. So much more than just complaining and trying to get Facebook to do what you want. It's great when Bongino and others support another platform that we can actually walk to, take our business elsewhere, support another platform.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the thing I most appreciate about Dan Bongino is how he is really straightforward. He seems to always have his finger on the pulse of America. He's very connected to people. He's not one of those elitist type guys who doesn't know what real living is all about. He seems to always come up with something that is what I'm thinking, if that makes sense to you. So I appreciate that, and I enjoy listening to him. I've seen a lot, if I am scrolling through videos on Facebook, a lot of times I see little clips that he has, and they make me laugh out loud almost every time, because he just loves to laugh too. So I know he's going through a health scare, not as bad as Rush Limbaugh, but he's going through a health scare right now as well.
Yeah.
He did talk a little bit about that when he was at CPAC at the very beginning of his speech. People were very, very welcoming to him at CPAC, to the point where they were cheering, and he was just like, okay, this is really emotional. You're filling me up emotionally. And it was really, really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you some things about what he did at CPAC. And why don't we run our first ones right here.
More than anything, ladies and gentlemen, all the rest is BS. What matters more than anything is the fight right now, and there is no more time to sit down on our knees and cry and do this victim stuff because we lost. That stuff is over. Everything else is, I'm sorry, right now the fight is all that matters, but it's not enough. There are a lot of folks out there who are really beat up. I get it. I get it. Election night and the days later were devastating. Anyone telling you otherwise is full of it. It was devastating. But there's no more time for that now. None. It is up to you as evangelists for the cause to go out there and get everyone off their knees, get everyone out of bed, dust off, get off the mat. There you go. Get the dust off, stand up, and get back in the fight now. There's no more time. The left, right after the election, it's a fact. You may not like them, and I certainly don't like their ideas, but right after the darn election, what were they doing? They were out there in their pink hats in 2016, marching the next day. They were, you saw it. I get it. A lot of us are beat up and are down. We lost a great advocate for the cause in this election, President Trump. But he's not done. You're not done. And listen to me. There is no done. There's no done. Forget done. Take done, throw done out. There's no done. Get immediately back up and get back in this fight tomorrow. Everyone. There's no time for this BS.
There's no done.
Right.
And he's not wrong.
And that's the plain spoken language he uses that people relate to. So folks, we're going to be back. We're going to show a few more clips of Dan Bongino, talk a little bit more about him. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Alrighty, we're back. No apologies on Beck. So we've been talking about Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, former law enforcement, and author, podcaster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
He does all sorts of stuff.
Right. So someone to take a look at, especially his news aggregating site, Bongino Report. Is it Bongino.com?
Yeah, it is BonginoReport.com.
Okay. So anyway, we've got a few more clips. I want to play them. Lori and I can talk about them. Let's just jump right into it. Here's the next clip from Dan Bongino.
Nailed it.
For feeling sorry for ourselves is done, and I'll tell you why. We are right. We are on the right side of this. Believe it. Be proud of it. Stand up and fight for it like your expiration date is around the corner. There is no time to waste. It's not a matter of, what I think. It's a matter of what you are doing. Thoughts are great. Thoughts and talk. I do a talk show. Talk is great. I love it. I live to speak to you every day on my show. I love it. But it doesn't mean squat if it doesn't motivate you to do something. Pick a candidate in a primary. We've got a hell of a lot of rhinos out there, folks. I'm really sorry. The Democrats are next. That's 2022. But primary season starts now. It started yesterday. You're a day late. No more complaining about the rhinos. We got them. Get them out. Go. We're not going to miss you.
He's so right. Instead of
it.
just talking about it all the time, get motivated. And he's a really great motivational speaker.
Well, and I listened to his podcast yesterday, and he was talking about his speech. It's interesting because at least he made it sound like he did very little preparation. And somebody had grabbed him 2 minutes before he was supposed to go on stage and was chattering, and then he realized, oh crap, I got to get on stage. But he talks about what we need to do, and he really touches on, not only does he talk about the dust yourself off and let's get out and do something, but he identifies, look, it's going to be the season to take on Democrats in 2022. But now is the time to think about primaries. You got to get rid of the rhinos, because there's no point in winning if the people on your side aren't towing the line. Exactly. And interestingly, I saw something on Facebook today where someone was looking for liberty-minded people that live in districts, I think it was 30, 32, and 34.
Cool. Oh, cool.
And so apparently someone is looking for people to maybe be challengers. And I haven't even looked to see, because I never keep track of the numbers and the people. But someone's looking, and that's according to Dan Bongino and myself and you.
That's what
it's exactly what you need to do.
Don't be just a talker. Be a doer and get active. Just do it now. And he's right. You know what? No more whining. No more crying. Just get up and get moving. So let's see the next one here. See what we've got.
Yes.
When I love to talk about issues, taxes, healthcare, school choice, my bread and butter. I love it. It's all great. I could talk about Milton Friedman until the cows come home. But the hard reality is there are more pressing issues right now. Having been obviously an investor and promoter of Parler, Rumble, and other parallel technology platforms, well, thank you. And more ahead, by the way. I'm a doer, I'm not a talker. I talk for a living, but I do stuff, because the do matters. The do changes the world. Talk is great, the do matters. I'm just telling you, those issue fights are fantastic, and I love them, and I will talk them to death, but the hard reality is the fight right now is for the very fabric of this country. That's not a joke. That's not hyperbole. I am not kidding. These people are playing for keeps. Make no mistake. William Wallace in the corner over there. Look at horse blinders, everyone. They are not kidding. They want you silenced, bankrupted, fired from your job, embarrassed, humiliated, and in the case of Donald Trump, they want him in prison. This is not a joke. Just put it in your search engine, just not Google. You will see it yourself. The tax fight is one we have to wage. The healthcare fight, school choice and regulations. But how are you going to wage it if we can't speak?
Yeah. Right? So good. So good.
That's exactly right.
He's exactly right about canceling, too. They want you silenced. They want you humiliated. They want you, put off to the side. And mostly, I think, they want you discouraged. And we're having none of that.
Right. And again, he brings up a good point. We have before said this is the most important election. This is the time that we're on the precipice, et cetera, et cetera. And some of these things have been true. Mm-hmm. If we do Obamacare, can we ever go back? Maybe not, but it's huge, disastrous, and it's a policy issue. If Hillary had been elected, all of the things that Obama wanted would have been entrenched, written in stone, and advanced. Trump got in there, changed things up a bit.
And as it was, he took away the individual mandate. I mean, he took that off of there.
He did what he could.
He did dismantle what he could in that amount of time. So don't ever despair, because it can be rolled back.
But Dan is exactly right, and this is something we'll have to hit on occasionally. We really are. This is different than other times because they are moving so far and successfully moving so far that we who have a different opinion are this close to being done.
Exactly.
Now, you can't give up. You have to fight. What are your choices? You're going to lay down?
You have no
is that
other
what you
choice.
want for your kids and grandkids?
Right, precisely.
And if we do fight back successfully, we still have the federal government that has an amazing amount of debt. I don't know how we even recover from that. But there's no point in worrying about the debt if you're completely silenced and have one-party rule and become an autocracy that is authoritarian in nature. So Dan is right. This is critical. If you've ever had an inkling of wanting to be a patriot, wanting to be someone who takes action, this is the time to do it. Not in 2 years, not in 4 years. Forget about whether your retirement is big enough for you to do that. Forget about whether the kids are out of school yet. Your time is now.
Exactly.
Your time is now, or it may be never.
My personal opinion is, and I have been getting phone calls. I have been getting random phone calls from people saying, you know what, how do I get involved? I'm like, call me. Just call me, because I will absolutely direct you to whom you need to talk, and we'll get it done. So if you do want to get active, you know what, contact me, or him. Probably not him, just me. No, I'm just kidding. I just don't want to give you any more work. Poor dude.
One more clip.
Why do you not want liberals to talk? Just let them talk. They humiliate themselves every time. When I got involved with Parler, I'm like, issue liberals money to come on Parler. We had a bounty. Please come on. We love when you say your stupidity on our platform so we can expose it. But they don't feel the same way. You know why? They're scared. They're scared because we are right. I only got 25 seconds. I told her I messed with the lady backstage. I'm like, half hour minimum. Just kidding. I will wrap it up. Close to on time. Nice lady backstage. Don't get. She said she'd tackle me if I went after 50 minutes. I'm just going to end with it because it's important. Leave here tonight with your chest out, proud. You are the renegades. You are the misfits. You are the real fighters. You're the one that matters. And don't make no mistake as you leave. You are on the right side of everything. Free speech, the freedom to protect your family, the freedom to assemble, to make your own money, to save your own life through your health care, and to get your kids in a good school. That is you. You are on the right side of this. Be proud. Say your prayers. Thank the Lord Almighty. You are on the right side of history.
All righty.
As William Wallace said, freedom! I love how these guys get the crowds fired up. And I don't know about you, but it kind of gets me rolling too.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Well, stellar.
Yep.
I mean, it's
stuff.
very, very important stuff.
Worthwhile seeing too.
So good. There, you know about Dan Bongino. Follow him. Stay in tune. We are going to come right back. Stick with us. Hr1.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
If you're a Beck Fiber customer or the dependent of a Beck Fiber customer, you might qualify for scholarships. Beck awards scholarships to seniors headed to college or to students attending University of Mary. Go to www.beck.coop for eligibility guidelines and applications.
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity.
All right.
All right. Oh, wait.
Except
I'm
for
your host,
this.
Rick Becker. There's our co-host, Lori Hintz.
Except this is not very sanity-filled. Right now we're going back to HR1 again, too. And we'll get to HR1 a little later, too. We've got a mailbag segment coming up here tonight where we're going to talk a little bit about that, too. The thing about HR1 that is so awful is that it is a complete flip on its head of elections being fair and transparent and just even open. I mean, it actually, in some ways, it just wide opens everything and makes it anarchy. I mean, it's just a mess. It really is.
So,
it's just crazy.
For those of you that didn't watch last night, probably all of you did, but HR1 is something that was passed in 2019 in the House. It didn't make it into the Senate, or they didn't take it up because it was controlled by Republicans.
Right.
They're bringing it back up. Likely, at last I heard, going to vote on it probably on Monday. It ought to pass and should be going to the Senate. It's a complete overhaul of the election system. It's overhauled in a manner which benefits Democrats. It's overhauled in a manner which maximizes the likelihood of fraud.
Correct.
Maximizes loss of integrity. And it is complete. I read an article. I've been reading more and more articles on it. And it says so succinctly in one of the articles, this is a roadmap to one-party rule.
Exactly.
A roadmap to one-party rule.
It has so many different parts that undermine our elections. It uses taxpayer money to fund political campaigns. It takes away states' right to redistrict. It supports illegal voting, felons voting. I will get to that in a minute, too. I got another little thing about that, because there was today some actual good news on election reform, the For the People Act. The measure went down in bipartisan defeat in the House today. 97 Democrats voted in favor of the amendment compared to 328 members who voted against it. And the deal is the amendment was offered to the House Democrats. Sweeping voting rights and campaign finance reform legislation went down, and Democrats voted against it today, which was interesting. And this is separate. This is part of the For the People Act. This is not HR1. But Cori Bush, who is this freshman, she's kind of like one of the squad, too. After the vote, she tweeted, "For the first time ever, the House took a vote on whether or not to end the cruelty of denying incarcerated people their right to vote." And then she says, "America does not love all its people." I should have saved that for
so I should know. So this is an amendment to HR1. Is that correct?
No, this is actually For the People Act is HR1?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was an amendment. That is correct. And the amendment went down in the House, which is kind of shocking to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised about that, too. That shocked me, too.
Interesting. So amongst all of the things that we've been talking about with regard to that and how they make it easier to do fraud, like online voting, early voting. You can't, you have to accept all the ballots that are mailed in, so on and so forth. What we talked about last night too was sort of the underpinning of this, where the federal government thinks, or they proclaim, Congress does, where they get the authority, and then also discussion of their anticipation of lawsuits. So in this, under Section 3 of this bill of HR1, it says findings of general constitutional authority. So there is a whole section, in fact, there's Section 4 also deals with this. So they, in their bill, are trying to declare where they have authority via the Constitution. And what they're doing is intentionally misinterpreting the Constitution to mean what they want it to mean rather than what it actually means.
Correct. And in so doing, usurping the authority of the individual states.
Right. They're putting on, it's a sham. They're trying to declare they have the authority when the Constitution actually says they don't. The states have the authority.
Do we have a video clip too that I forgot about that. I think we have a video clip to play as well on this one. This is the Hr1 discussion. This is a breakout session that was held during CPAC, and there's a little section where they start talking about Hr1 and how important it is.
Oh yeah, let's see that.
What this demonstrates is, look, it is really difficult to prove fraud after an election because you have only a short period of time. It's hard and difficult to gather the evidence, takes a lot of time and resources. And what all of this illustrates is you want to be sure that it doesn't happen in the first place.
Yes.
And the only way that's going to happen, the only way that's going to happen is two things that have to be done right now. Okay, one of them is stopping, as DeRoy was talking about, HR1, which is coming down the pike this week, okay, which will basically put in the worst rules you can imagine in all the states and will ban states from having basic security protocols like voter ID laws. But the second thing is getting the state legislatures right now while they're in session to fix all of these problems and all of these issues and doing just basic common sense things like putting in voter ID laws that apply to both in-person and absentee balloting.
You know, one of the things that's difficult about HR1 that's coming to the floor of the House next week, and it's designed to federalize all election law, which is really designed to be run by the state legislatures. Has to be run by the states, agreed, per the Constitution. So,
yeah, I mean, you're right. The Constitution says that the election laws are supposed to be governed by the states. HR1 says,
so HR1 is an
Constitution, whatever, we're going to do our own thing, which is sort of their outlook on a lot of things.
Here's the reason that this is so difficult to swallow is this election actually was lost very closely. The Washington Post reported that fewer than 45,000 votes would have swung it in a different direction across 3 different states. 3 different states, 42,000 votes, 45,000 votes, something like that, and we would have had an electoral college vote of 269 to 269. Back then, Republicans had the majority in the House of Representatives. They would have voted, and President Trump would have had a second term, and something like HR1 would not be able to go through. There are going to be many consequences that we're facing because such a close election was lost. And with all of these efforts from the media, from the judges, from the left, all of these efforts still came to a very close race.
Yeah, but that's why these kind of state law provisions can make a difference. And again, if I can just go back to it very quickly to show what a difference it could make. HR1 bans all state voter ID laws at the very same time that it requires all states to put in same-day voter registration. You understand what that means? That means that I could walk into any polling place on Election Day, say that my name is not Hans von Spakovsky, but Tom Swift, and I live at 100 Main Street. They have to register me and immediately let me vote, and they can't ask me for an ID to verify who I am that actually live in that area. I could then leave that polling place and go to the next polling place down the street, immediately register under the name Tom Smith, vote, and keep doing it all day, and there's absolutely nothing state officials could do to stop it if HR1 is passed.
And well, we're going to stop. We have to fight. At the end of this session, we'll be forcing out to your apps a means for you to contact your legislator. You'll put in some information, and you'll be able to send them a letter telling them to vote against it. And our goal really is that not a single Republican in the House votes for this thing. We need to have a unified front to fight it. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, and
Yeah, well, it will be a challenge, but look, I mean, we need to fight on this one, and I think this is probably going to go down to a party line vote. I don't know if we can peel away any of the Democrats in the Senate on this, but we all ought to be talking to everyone who know. Contact your lawmakers, contact your friends, call radio stations, go on local television, whatever access to the media you have, and just scream bloody murder about this thing, because if this goes through, all the garbage we saw last November is going to be baked into the U.S. code.
Yeah, and look, this actually, there should be a bipartisan effort in the states to stop this, because I don't care whether you're a Republican state legislator or a Democratic state legislator, you ought to be angry at the idea that Washington is going to usurp your role and tell you how to run elections in your state. The residents of that state, through their elected representatives, are the ones who make that decision. Hr1, I think, is the most anti-democratic bill I've seen in my 20 years in Washington.
Yeah, absolutely anti. So there's a couple more things. I know we're going to run short on time. We ran short last night too. Hr1, there's so much about it. There are a couple of things. It really focuses on race again. What it does is it says, we mentioned this last night, it wants to allow all felons to be able to vote. And the reason is they say that blacks are disproportionately represented amongst felons. Rather than trying to identify why are blacks disproportionately represented amongst felons and fixing that, they say, you know what, to fix it, we're just going to have all felons vote, when that's clearly not something that's intended. There's another aspect, which is they want to protect people that have not been able to vote based on the ability to pay, which doesn't happen. You don't have to pay.
There's no poll tax.
Government will give you a free ID if you need an ID.
Exactly.
And they indicate that it's a matter of age. Well, yes, you're disenfranchised if you're below 18. No one else has been disenfranchised. There's no and you're not disenfranchised based on race. If you want to sue, if you're a state that wants to sue, if you're an individual or group that wants to sue, because there is a lot to sue about here.
Agreed.
They put in their bill, you have to go to the district court in D.C. The district court there, which is known to be heavily liberal, you have to go to D.C. Additionally, they put in there that if there are several groups that want to sue, they get to lump you all into one so they can dispense with you easily and in one action.
It's astounding. It's really astounding.
I don't know. You know, congratulations, Democrats. Congratulations. You're all about democracy. I call BS. I call BS because this is just frank and overt, and this is everything that you say you're against.
It's horrendous.
Congrats.
It is horrendous. Hr1. Make sure that you are contacting your state legislators and tell them, okay, if there's anything that we can do, and also your congressional delegation as well. So, all right.
We will be back.
We will.
Next segment, mailbag.
Mailbag.
Stick with us.
Howdy folks, it's a Hr1 Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Boss and Breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Hr1 burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
We're back. No apologies on Beck. It's time for mailbag, folks.
It's kind of fun to do it on Tuesdays and Fridays. We started doing that when we started getting a larger volume of mail. So let's kick right off and show you the first one. These are from Facebook. This first one was, just pretty straightforward. I feel like you avoid important issues. I don't know that we necessarily avoid important issues.
I try not to avoid important issues. I wish they would give examples of issues that they would like us to hit that we haven't been.
I think so too.
I'm not sure.
I know.
I just don't know.
So the next one says, did you like the new segment, Dems Say the Darndest Things? This was our question and query to people on Facebook. We just kind of did a thumbs up or thumbs down, but they said yes, and I believe you will have endless material for the next 4 years. I thought that's probably true. And then somebody even added something that was dumb that Biden said, and they put that down. Well, here's one of them for you. So they're giving us material. Yes, and you won't have a shortage of video clips from those degenerates. That's a good word, degenerates.
Yeah, it's interesting on that clip, by the way, where it's Joe Biden, I think back in about a year ago, and talking about not having the authority to take us into war with Iran, when Biden apparently just did a stroke last night. Did a strike last night.
Right? Yep. Or a stroke, probably a stroke and a strike.
I think he had maybe had a stroke.
Would cause the strike. Yeah.
Yes, but anyway, I think he did a strike last night in Syria, which is they're fighting in lieu of Iran when it's actually Iran. So if anyone's bringing us into a war with Iran, it sounds like it's going to be Biden. So I don't know.
So this next one is showing WTF, Mr. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, took a brief respite from his bunker to give us an update on his 357th day of 15 days to flatten the curve. You won't believe what he used to build his own distillery. That was pretty hilarious.
It was the skulls of, do you remember the skulls of what? I don't know.
Commies, I think?
Oh, yeah, it was commies. I knew it wasn't liberal.
Loved it, Whiskey. Whiskey, you have to circle back on those tough questions. I'm enjoying this whole circle back. That's a Jen Psaki term because she is the press secretary. So the next one, we asked this one just yesterday because we just did the Hr1 thing yesterday. And so this was our question after the show. And I think it is very interesting. Before No Apologies, had you heard of Hr1? So we're feeling like we're educating people, but we kind of got a mini poll there. And nope, I just learned about it in this post just today. Yep, no, yes, no, yes, yes, yep. Rush mentioned it, I believe. Did he do that before he passed away? I'm just wondering.
He probably did.
Okay, knowing him, he was probably on that before.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And because remember we talked about it was actually introduced in 2019.
Correct.
And yeah, I'm sure he did.
But my point of those yep, yep, nope, nope, nopes is if you take those 10, you have 60-40. 60 people or 60% said yes of those, and 40% said no, which means we have either really, really up on the news people watching the show, or they're learning it by that 40%. I just thought it was an interesting percentage of people who actually already knew about HR1.
Yeah, I think it's good because we're hitting stuff that some people have heard. Probably even if they had heard about it, they don't know great detail about it. And if they haven't heard about it, this is their opportunity. So I think that's a nice mix. I'm happy we hit on that.
So thank you, as always, for participating in our social media stuff. And you can email us also. We have an email address. There it is, noapologies@becknews.com. And we appreciate the fact that you guys do that dialogue back and forth with us, too. It just makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah, and for all the haters, send your stuff in, but give some substance to it. Give some general substance. We'll put you on the show.
Absolutely.
I dare you. I double dog dare you. You lying horse, pony, pony, what is it? Pony?
I don't know.
It's a Biden thing.
Like
dog face pony.
Dog face pony soldier.
Soldier, you dog face pony soldier. But anyway.
We'll get it eventually.
Yeah, whether you're a hater or not, write some stuff. If it's really interesting, we may have you on.
The purveyor of the dog face pony soldier, the Biden, we're going to next come back and do some more executive orders.
With the Biden?
With
Is
the
that
Biden.
what we're calling him now?
The Biden.
The Biden. All right, stay tuned, folks. We are going to be back. Executive order coming right up.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Hr1 service team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Hr1 service team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Hey, hey, hey. Whoa. Is that your pin?
It's cool, isn't it?
I see
know,
a little
I'm really
elephant
excited
on
about
there.
this. So I had a birthday recently, and I got this It was sent to me by Ronna McDaniel. My ear, I'm hearing myself in my ear. You know, I can't hear her, like, and she's also nuts. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, so she sent this to me as a birthday gift, and I thought that was pretty cool. And it has a little elephant on it too, with my special pin. It's like, I'm like, what am I hearing in my ear? Welcome to technology, people. It's delightful. Okay, so we are going to jump into Biden's excruciating orders. I mean, executive orders. Part 14, and we've been going through these things one at a time, and we are on order number 31. The thing about the orders is that you can tell I get a little disgusted by them because they are redundant. They are all using the same phrasing. They're all using the same words, and they are all basically just completely flipping what President Trump did, and that's their plan. It's like they aren't even very original on this stuff. They just kind of went, oh, let's see what he did, and then let's bing, 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 bing,
yeah,
bing.
well, there's definitely a fair amount of that. But and it's, you know, we're hitting them. For you and I especially, it's sort of like getting tiresome. But again, as we said before,
it's important.
This is what is going on. This occurred. This isn't something that might happen.
Nope.
This occurred.
Right,
and he's
already happened.
putting these out, and this is how we're being affected. So let's pop up the first one for tonight here. It's an executive order on ensuring the future is made in all of America by all of America's workers. Interesting. I'm not going to make fun of that, but I didn't know that we could make the future. But
yeah, that wasn't really phrased very well. Some of these are really, really not worded well either.
Now, this is something that was considered to be nationalist when Trump did it, because Trump did something very, very similar with his executive order 13881 that he called maximizing use of American-made goods, products, and materials. And it's interesting because most everything that he did, they're completely just undoing. But in this case, they're sort of mimicking.
Right.
And yeah, it's interesting. But what they've done is made a little or a lot more bureaucracy with this order.
Which is kind of what they're good at, is just adding a lot more government and a lot more money to things too.
Yeah.
It's funny
So
how
they're going to
happens.
add a Made in America office. Made in America office. That's going to go under the Office of Management and Budget.
OMB.
Yes. And so now it's another layer of bureaucracy.
So the Administrator of General Services shall develop a public website that shall be designed to enable manufacturers and other interested parties to easily identify proposed waivers and whether those waivers have been granted. The website shall also provide publicly available contact information for each granting agency. So what's interesting about this too is I noticed that they are including iron, steel, manufactured goods, and I wonder why they mention iron and steel specifically, but nothing else.
Well, huge amount of union workers in those fields.
So
very,
it's pandering.
very powerful.
Okay, got it.
Very powerful.
That makes perfect sense.
But
then.
the waiver thing is an important, very significant part of this executive order. And it's a huge process. There's multiple layers of bureaucracy. And so it allows for the politicization of this executive order on what is declared that an item that you must purchase because it's made in America versus one you get a waiver for and you can get around it. And it's just a mess. It's an absolute...
I don't know how they managed to do that with every single thing. I mean, it's really kind of, you would think, okay, made in America, it's a great thing, but managing to twist it somehow so that you're forced to do something rather than have freedom. Yeah. It's astounding. So, all right. Do you want to keep on this one, or do you want to move on?
Let's hit the next one.
Okay.
All right. This one, it's a memorandum condemning and combating racism, xenophobia, and intolerance against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the United States.
I cannot roll my eyes far enough back in my forehead for this.
I know.
How many times do we have to hear racism, xenophobia?
Right. So let's read. The federal government must recognize that it has played a role in furthering these xenophobic sentiments through the actions of political leaders, including references to the COVID-19 pandemic by geographic location of its origin. Such statements have stoked unfounded fears and perpetuated stigma about Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders and have contributed to increasing rates of bullying, harassment, and hate crimes against AAPI persons. I call bull crap.
BS.
That is absolute bullcrap. By the way, remember, xenophobia is being afraid of foreigners or those different than you. Here's the thing. Oh, what do we have here?
This is the second part of it. So, despite these increasing acts of intolerance, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have made our nation more secure during the COVID-19 pandemic. What? And throughout our history. An estimated 2 million Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have served on the front lines of this crisis as healthcare providers, as first responders, and in other essential roles. So,
Yeah.
like AAPI good.
Well, right. So I want to go back to don't go back to the graphic. I want to discuss the graphic. And what we're talking about here is this aspect of the bullying and the harassment and all of that. And that because we're using the term, if someone uses Wuhan flu or something like that, or the China coronavirus, that somehow Americans are bullying and causing hate crimes against persons of Asian descent. Absolute ridiculous. What they're doing, again, is creating classes of victims. They used MERS, Middle East Respiratory Virus. They used MERS during the Obama administration and didn't have a problem with it at the time. You can look at a number of different ones. Spanish flu, obviously, 1918, because Zika. The Zika virus was from a specific area in Africa. These guys are, I want to say idiots, but they just have no integrity whatsoever. And it's just maddening. It's
I know,
absolute
it's so bad.
maddening.
Right. Next time, we'll be talking about the legislature coming back into session, and we will also have a veteran liaison for the Wall of Honor, and we'll be talking about that next time here on No Apologies with Becker. Join us. See you soon.